Well, let's start with Father's Day. I was watching Facebook or looking at Facebook this morning and seeing fathers being represented all over, all kinds of photos, and fathers that died 30 years ago and are still being remembered, and which is so heartwarming to me. We live in such a fast-moving society that we rarely have time to think about anything about except work and paying the bills and cleaning house and doing the dishes. And to think about our precious dad who died 30 years ago means we're still okay as a humanity. I was thinking about my own dad. He died in 1989. Always had my back, was always there, carted me all over town so I could meet music rehearsals and meetings and volleyball and golf. We used to play golf together. He was religious, he was spiritual, he was the head of the Sunday school department, handsome, just, the best father a girl could have. And I really give him credit for all that he gave me. And so I'm taking time today to say thank you, Dad. Now, moving on. Today is the fourth Sunday that I've talked about meditation. So this will be the last Sunday. And I do encourage those of you who are on the webinar to, if you haven't had an opportunity to enjoy these talks about meditation, go to our YouTube account. White Mountain has a YouTube account. You can go to our website, and you'll see down either the very bottom of our homepage or to the side, there's a menu. It'll take you right to the videos. And I think it's a gift. I think meditation, truly is a gift for people who are spiritual, people who want to live a life that is filled with light, increasing light, who want to undergo a continuous process of transmutation and transformation. In other words, to live a better life. I think that meditation today is so different than it was back when I first began this path of meditation. You'd say, I have to meditate this morning. And now you'd say, give me a half an hour, I'm going into my meditation room, and then we'll go on with the day. That means that society now is accepting meditation. The meditation that we teach is hierarchical meditation. It is seed thought meditation. It's also called active meditation. It's a very advanced meditation. It's not physical, it's not emotional, it's not mental, it's solar. What you're going to learn today are the basics of how to set yourself up as you begin your meditation. And then I'll end with sharing some other ideas. But this is really important if you really want to engage in, or maybe you've gotten off the path a little bit with your meditation style. This will help you this morning. So I'm going to start with the first thing you do when you sit down in the morning to meditate is to relax. Relaxed in alignment, it's called. Very, very important. If you don't accomplish perfectly the process of relaxation and alignment, the rest of your meditation will be in discord. It's like you can have this magnificent Stradivarius violin that money today just cannot buy because it's so rare and so incredibly beautiful. But if you put that violin up to your chin and take the bow and begin to play it, and that violin is out of tune, no matter how rarefied this Stradivarius violin, the whole performance is going to be in a state of disharmony. And so that's why in meditation we think of our body as being that musical instrument. And we have to align it and relax and align it before we can get into the next steps and truly become engaged in this magnificent approach to meditation. So the first thing we're going to do is to relax, learn how to align our physical, emotional, mental bodies to the higher self. We make our emotional nature totally calm and quiet the mental nature. This is not easy. Truly, I've had so many people drop out of meditation. They say, meditation isn't for me. I'm a very active thinker. Aren't we all? So this is the first challenge, is to still the mental nature, make it serene. The next point about relaxation and process of relaxation and alignment, I wanted to bring in this, where the master says, brothers, let your horizon be wide and your humility great. That means as you are in this process of relaxation and alignment, to keep sight of the purpose of meditation, and the underlying foundation of that purpose requires humility. Oftentimes I find students starting the path of meditation are starting that path with a sense of ego and vanity and what they're going to get from meditation and how it's going to elevate them above the crowds. So the master says, my brothers, let your horizon be wide and your humility great. You're going to open yourself like a lotus, like a flower opening to the light of eternity. This is the kind of alignment and attunement I'm talking about, so it is not easy. Sometimes you can calm your physical body, but your emotional body is troublesome. Or your emotions are calm, but your mental nature is worried. It is very important, very necessary, that your physical, emotional, and mental vehicles be in tune, like a musical instrument, so that the composer, the musician, can make music with your physical, emotional, mental bodies. So that's the first. The second point is the sounding of Om. After you have aligned your vehicles, then you're going to sound 3 Oms. According to the masters, we have physical, emotional, and mental seeds in our psychological nature. Now, I know for some of you this is very abstract, particularly if you are a black and white kind of, seeing is believing kind of person. But as you become more psychically sensitive, have at least a modicum of intuition, then even though you can't see these 3 seeds that form part of our psychological nature, you're going to sense them. And in time, that sense then becomes a reality to you, that you really recognize the activity of these 3 seeds. These 3 seeds are also called nuclei. And for those that study the hierarchical teaching, know that these 3 seeds or nuclei are called permanent atoms. These atoms are sources through which our vehicles are created in successive incarnations. So that means that we take these 3 seeds, these 3 permanent atoms with us from one incarnation to the next, to the next, to the next. These seeds form the hereditary nuclei of the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. Isn't that interesting? Everybody's so busy taking notes. Okay. It is interesting. It is to me. I'm so fascinated with this whole process of this mechanism that is created and we are born, and what we have to use as we live through our life. These seeds, these permanent atoms register everything that we do, physically, emotionally, mentally. Every act in each of our vehicles is registered there. Every act. Each time we come into incarnation, the content of these seeds, these atoms, are projected like a beam on the screen of life. And the way this is done is by the energy of your soul, projected on the screen of your life by the energy of your soul. You have recording devices within you that record all that you do, and even your thoughts are recorded. You can't help but think and have to laugh. Since the days of computers and storage space, and how every year we buy more storage space. Imagine the amount of storage space that these permanent atoms have. Yeah, we haven't gotten there quite yet for computers. So these atoms or seeds are the roots, what we call the roots of our personality vehicles. We say 3 ohms normally before we meditate. Sometimes we sound these 3 ohms at the end of a meditation, or 1 ohm at the end of a meditation for group. But these 3 ohms act on our 3 bodies, physical, emotional, mental bodies. The first ohm, think about this, the first ohm hits the nucleus of the physical body, and it vibrates there, just like when you play that violin or some musical instrument with strings and you draw the bow across the string, you feel a vibration. You can also, if you have this beautiful tonality type voice, you can sound your voice and you can feel your body vibrating. Sometimes a person has that strong of a musical voice that they can stand next to your violin, or as a violinist, or your cello, or your viola, or your double bass, and that instrument will vibrate when that person sounds the note of their voice. And this is why we do 3 ohms. And the first ohm hits the nucleus of our physical body and vibrates there. That's what we call the soul note, the note of the physical body, the note of the emotional body, the note of the mental body, the note of the soul. When you sound that ohm, eventually that core note begins to vibrate and magical things begin to happen. Then it goes to the etheric body and eliminates all those atoms which are not worthwhile because they cannot adjust. These not worthwhile atoms cannot adjust or tune themselves to the whole of your mechanism. So the sounding of the Om then begins to harmonize the good and throws out the disharmony that's found in the cellular structure of your etheric body. The second Om performs the same act of purification in the astral or emotional body. The third Om purifies and calms the mental body. It is important to sound the Om correctly. And with all the groups I've been part of throughout my adult life, I've yet to hear a group or an individual really sound that Om correctly, even though there are a couple of exceptions. The majority don't. So if they have the humility to listen to this lecture today, this is how you sound the Om correctly. Each letter should be sounded in equal length. Normally what happens, and if you participate in meditation groups that sound the Om, pay attention. The O in the Om is very long, and then the M is and you're done. Because you're out of breath, you know. So the O and the Om must be sounded in equal length. You create disharmony and imbalance in your system when the two Oms are not equal. So imagine a whole group of people sounding O and M and not sounding it correctly. What's happening to the group when those two sounds are not equal? The O goes to the physical part and the M goes to the psychic part of our system, which creates a balance in our whole mechanism. It creates a balance also within each atom, physical, emotional, mental atoms. Sounding the Om out loud is good for beginners, and for the first 5 years of meditation, we are told, helps us psychologically. But when we begin to function on the mental plane, that is when we can sound the Om in silence or mentally, because it's more effective than the physical sound. When you are sounding the Om, do not climb up with it, but stay in the center of your head. Many psychic diseases are caused because with aspiration, they're pulling themselves up out of their aura. Their aura then becomes like a balloon above their head. This is dangerous, especially for the more intensely devotional types of people. The aura must remain around your body and not pulled up the way you would like when you're pulling up your sweater or your t-shirt. Keep your body centered in your aura. Keep your body centered in your aura. If your body is not in the center of your aura, listen to this, you're going to have difficulty sounding the Om. If your body is not in the center of your aura, you're going to have difficulty sounding the Om. I mentioned this last week, that meditation pulls the blood up into your brain. Now here's a little bit of practical information. When you get up in the morning, we're told to drink a cup of water is good for flushing our kidneys, but don't eat anything before you meditate. Don't eat anything before you meditate. At least 2 hours must pass after you eat before doing a meditation. The next point is, after the Om, is seed thought. Now we're coming to the seed thought. We've relaxed and aligned ourselves. We have sounded the Om, the O for 8 counts, the M for 8 counts. Now we're ready for the seed thought. To practice meditation with the seed thought, any seed thought can be used. I suggest you find a seed thought from the Agni Yoga teachings. If, for example, your seed thought is about joy, you can ask yourself, why must I be joyful? First, you should meditate on the form. And this is an old process by Patanjali, who a long time ago gave us this basic form of seed thought meditation. So we start with the form of joy, then the physical, emotional, and mental forms of joy. So recognizing the form of joy is the first step. If you are joyful, what form does your joy take? How do you look? What is the form that joy builds on your face? See, it's not fake. It's not pretending to be joyful when inside you're clinically depressed. It's not that. It's a whole natural process. And you'll begin to recognize that as you use this seed thought. What does a form of joy take? What is a form that joy builds on your face? What kind of radiation do you have? What kind of beingness do you have? Radiation is beingness. What kind of beingness, what kind of radiation do you have? Meditate on the forms of joy through examination and mental activity. Think about what your form is like when you are joyful, what form your circulation takes, your hearing and your eyesight. Isn't that interesting to think about? What form does your eyesight take, your hearing, when you're joyful? What forms do your body, emotions, and mind take when you're angry or afraid? What do your eyes look like then? What happens to your senses? Notice the difference and find out what happens to you when you are joyful and when you are not. See, this is seed thought meditation. So we take this seed thought, and this example is joy, and we start with a form. Do not forget that you are doing a tremendous mental exercise, and this exercise is wonderful for strengthening your mind. You will not have to worry about having dementia or Alzheimer's or other neurotic diseases as you get older when you take this approach to meditation, active meditation. The effect of mental exercise in meditation is important because when you develop mental strength and a problem arises, you can just crush it. It may take 10 minutes. It may even take an hour, but when you crush it, it's done. You don't take yourself to a therapist to help you work with it, see? You are able to take hold of it immediately and then finally immediately and then crush it on the spot. The next step to examine is called the quality. So we've done the form, now we're doing the quality. The quality of your seed thought. You can search, for example, the qualities of a tree or even a dog. I have wonderful opportunities with 3 dogs in the house to examine the qualities of a dog. But for now, you are using the concept of joy. Do you have different joys? What is real joy? Is the happiness that people have in eating and drinking too much, in gossiping and slandering, even killing each other, really joy? The answer is no. Or is joy something different? Find out where your own joy is and what joys you have. Be honest with yourself. Is your greatest joy to talk to your friends and gossip about others? Can you find a higher joy? What are your sources of joy? These are the qualities we're talking about now, the qualities of joy. Are you joyful at all? If not, why not? Are you able to give joy to others? Or are you burdening them with yourself? There are many people who are a burden to others, offering only their miserableness and their meanness. I remember many moons ago, I won't tell you how many moons, when when my whole life took on a stage of transformation because I dedicated myself to the teaching. Part of that dedication was I realized that we live in a joyless society. My environment was certainly joyless. And perhaps that's my task, part of the purpose of my life. But I find it very, very difficult, increasingly difficult, to find people who carry joy with them. But this process of meditation, the seed thought, active meditation, particularly when you step into this discovery of the qualities of joy, you begin to find joy within yourself. And then you can carry that joy out into that joyless environment. And I know you're going to say she doesn't know what she's talking about, but I really do. Accept it or not, I don't care. Well, I do, but no, I don't. Okay, so let's go. The next step or section of your meditation is to examine the purpose of your seed thought. So we've gone from form and quality to now we are taking the next section called purpose, the purpose of your seed thought. Why does joy exist? What is the purpose of joy? What does it do? Is it important? Have you any experiences regarding the purpose of joy? The next step, the fourth step, is what we call cause. Cause. When in meditation you go forward and you contemplate about the cause, you actually begin to enter the world of reality. And curiously enough, the world of future. Cause and future. Real causes are in the future, they're not in the past. Isn't that interesting? Real causes are in the future and not in the past. The plan, the purpose are all found in the future, not in the past. The plan, the purpose are all found in the future. They are true causes which bring changes and results in the present. So, in meditating on these 4 points, you can use your mind in thinking, form, quality, purpose, cause of your seed thought. The next step, meditation, is then closed after your seed thought with 3 ohms. These 3 ohms are of equal duration. Go om or om, om, and then you're done. That's not that's not the way you do it. 3 ohms of equal duration. And then finally, You record your thoughts from your meditation. Some students will come to me or write to me, more write these days, WRITE. Is it okay if I take my ideas and inspirations during my meditation and write them down? No. No. That would be like playing the violin and you're reaching the crescendo point of your performance and you're feeling truly in a state of bliss, and you put the violin down and say, I'm going to write now about this blissful state of consciousness. Well, you're not going to do that. You're going to enjoy that moment. So you wait until your meditation is over and then record your thoughts. Meditation is a conversation with the higher worlds. In meditation, we formulate questions and wait patiently. Wait is the key word here. You wait patiently to receive answers from your inner guide or from beings that are living in the higher worlds who are intuitively aware of your thoughts. Think about that. And then think, why don't I have time to meditate when it's such a gift? If I can realize that beings living in the higher worlds may become intuitively aware of my thoughts during my meditation, who can say I'm too busy to meditate? Or I'm too advanced to meditate? Anyway, it's strange. If our motives are good, these higher beings are going to help us. Thus, in meditation, you are not alone, but you are clearly visible to those who are either by responsibility, duty, or frequency with your mental waves. They are by duty or responsibility or in frequency attuned to your mental waves, and they watch and they try to help you, just like my dear dad. This being Father's Day, I had to bring that in. He was always attuned to me, always. He was such a great gift. And I didn't even have him as a father until I was 2 years old. He adopted me. Mom and Dad adopted me when I was 2 years old. Imagine that. He was such a great man. In meditation, a moment comes, and when you experience unusual revelations which answer your questions and establish a kind of dialogue between you and the higher worlds, that moment takes place at some moment in your meditation. As you continue your meditation, you draw closer to the higher worlds. And as you draw closer, your core becomes more radioactive. That means your beingness is becoming greater and greater and greater with light and love and power, until eventually the light of intuition that is hidden in your core is released, opening a path leading to great knowledge and wisdom. So that's the procedure. Now let me share just a few techniques here. Group meditation. Meditation groups cannot be formed with mentally sick people. I want to repeat this. Meditation groups cannot be formed with mentally sick people, although sick people can be helped in many other ways. Meditation is for sane and healthy people. Each person who wants to practice meditation must first try to purify their whole nature, because whatever glamours, illusions, and negative feelings, bad intentions exist in them will all be stimulated by the fire of meditation. The fire by friction, solar fire, electric fire, will all stimulate glamours, illusions, negative feelings, and bad intentions. An intelligent person will be very careful in their practice of meditation and take caution to release only as much energy as can be controlled and rightly used. Right timing and proper dosage is an important process in meditation. Right timing and proper dosage. Can you imagine this? Take a symphony orchestra, and always in the back of the symphony orchestra you had this whole line of men and women standing with their kettle drums and their snare drums and their little triangles and bells and so forth. Can you imagine, let's say you take the meditation by Thais and you have this drummer back there just going crazy. He's so excited. Look at everybody. Look at everybody. It's going to kill everyone. They're going to run out of the hall because it's hurting their ears. So right dosage. Right dosage. The next thing is do not go to sleep. When you're in a group meditation and someone is going to sleep, punch them. They're going to say, what? I wasn't asleep, I was listening. No. Do not go to sleep. Why not? It damages your eyes, your ears, your heart, and exerts harmful pressure on your solar plexus. Sit erect and relaxed and alert without tension. Remember, back to point number one, relaxation and alignment. No tension. This allows the proper circulation for incoming energy. There are 3 centers in the head center, the Agni center, the Alta major center. The head center itself corresponds to the pineal gland, or let's say the pineal gland corresponds to the head center. The Agni center corresponds to the pituitary body, and the Alta major center is the carotid gland, or the carotid gland corresponds to the Alta major center. These 3 centers become active as you meditate and build a field of light in your brain. See, you're not going to get this with Hatha yoga. You're not going to get this phenomenon with hot yoga or these other so-called pseudo-yogas. This is not the kind of meditation we're talking about this morning. When these 3 centers, the head center, the Agni center, the Alta major center, your pineal gland, your pituitary body, your carotid gland, become active, they're going to together create a field of light in the brain. It is this field of light that will be used in communication with the higher spheres of light and form the foundation of what is called the Golden Bridge, the Anakarana Bridge, the bridge of consciousness. And then the next point is don't over-meditate. I talked about this last week, about the dangers of meditation. Do not over-meditate. A meditator was walking with his teacher in Asia when his teacher pointed to a little donkey with a heavy load, and he said, "See how his spine is bent? The teacher said he is young. The donkey is young, but he will never grow properly this way. Let me take half the load for him. When they walked beside the donkey, the teacher said to the meditation practitioner, said, this is like meditation. If you load yourself too much, your mental spine will be bent and cause you endless trouble. Make haste slowly and do not overburden yourself. Our brain cells, consciousness, feeling nature, even our environment, this is so cool, even our environment need to become accustomed to these incoming energies. If a person suddenly becomes too powerfully energized, they create disturbance in their home. And influx of unexpected energy can cause severe nervous tension in those around such a person. So this is why that person wants to try to control that energy. I remember, again, many moons ago, and I'm not going to count them, but many moons ago, I went to a seminar it was made up primarily of meditators. I wasn't there but an hour, and I had a migraine headache, and I never have migraine headaches, and haven't since then, but I was totally miserable. Didn't know what was going on, and this wonderful man, this Colonel Joe, I just looked at him and says, come on, we got to get out of here. He knew what was going on. And so we sat down, neutralized the energy, and I could go back in, and that was fine. But I was in too much energy. I wasn't used to it. When someone comes into your office and you have that fire with you, you carry that fire with you, if they can't carry the fire that is like circulating in your office, you're going to have problems in your office. An influx of unexpected energy can cause severe nervous tension in those around such a person. It is necessary, this is interesting, it is necessary to raise the vibrations of those around you slowly and surely, so that your whole family and the atmosphere is safely uplifted. This is extremely difficult to do, and I've certainly experienced failures in this. So you have to be careful and patient. Rome wasn't made in a day? I have to look that up, figure out why. You guys, lighten up. So this is why in the first 3 years of meditation, it is important to meditate only 15 minutes a day at the most. After this period of adjustment, the time may be extended to 30 minutes. The next point, those who meditate must be very careful about what they eat and drink. It is suggested that those who practice meditation refrain from the use of alcohol, and it is absolutely forbidden to use drugs and marijuana. This is becoming less and less popular. But if you're going to follow the teaching, do a compilation, which I've done. I've done 2 different compilations. One from the teachings of my own teacher, who has written over 100 books. I've done a complete compilation on alcohol and the dangers of alcohol, and in Agni Yoga, almost identical in what it talks about in Agni Yoga. So if you're following the master's teaching, you cannot justify and say things have changed. I mean, you can, but be prepared to experience the effects. The next step is to purify your meditation room. Master Moria says that in the olden days, when wise kings passed their kingdoms down to their sons, they always built a new palace for the new king, because the old castle was polluted with discussions and arguments and fights and so on. This is why when we bought our property for our sanctuary and dedicated it to, in such a way that we called it Isvara, we gutted the entire building, painted everything, new flooring, new cabinetry, new everything. So it was a new castle and not an old castle, because the old castle was polluted with discussions, arguments, fights, and so forth. This is why when you come into a sanctuary, you sit quietly and in contemplation. You don't bring the kitchen sink in with you, if you get my point. Master M also advises us to use restraint in using library books, because we do not know how many hands have touched those books. Well, now during the COVID-19, they're catching up with the teaching. See? Don't hug, don't shake hands, if you don't know these people. Don't borrow library books. Wear gloves, wear a mask, don't breathe. Right? I'm so grateful to get out of the grocery store and take off my mask. I can breathe again. God bless those that work with them all day. Anyway, it is better to buy new books for yourself. Objects that are passed along through families are not so bad because of karmic ties, but it is better not to buy antiques and bring them into your home. Of course, it is difficult to insulate ourselves, but during meditation, we must be careful. So when you meditate in a room, you purify it physically. Burning sandalwood incense assists in the purification process. According to the great ones, sandalwood is destructive to negative thought forms. Oh my, okay, I can finish this. Pure rose oil, eucalyptus oil, peppermint oil, and frankincense also clean the atmosphere. This has always been practiced in churches. For example, in Oriental Orthodox churches, they hold an object over this burning incense when they want to sanctify it until the scent penetrates into it. Incense, which is very beneficial for purification, will penetrate into cloth and even wood. There's a lot of incense in the market today. Be sure you get the purest of pure. I recommend don't go to the summer fair that always has this big display of very cheap incense and essential oil. Don't buy it there. Know the source. In other words, know the source before you buy it. What we recommend, sandalwood incense from the Vedanta Society in California, or Shoyoda. Shoyodo. It's sorry. Let me spell it. It's Shoyeido. It's a Japanese firm, and they produce beautiful, beautiful, pure, clean incense, and their packaging, only Japan can do this. Very eloquent. So either sandalwood incense from the Vedanta Society or various kinds of incenses from, I can't believe I'm doing this again, whatever. I must have spelled this wrong. I know that. Anyway, they have a variety of incense that are sandalwood based. Those are the two we recommend. And finally, jewelry. Brass and copper are forbidden to wear because it is said that they disturb the electromagnetic circulation of the body. Some people insist that these metals have healing properties, but eventually they distort the energy. Topaz, sapphire, and jade are beneficial, and of course, diamonds are the best. And the last 2 points, the presence of water is good for meditation. Our teachers used to meditate on little islands because of the water. And finally, as I mentioned, drugs. Drugs are not tolerated. Drugs are the worst enemy of the spiritual life. So that's it about meditation. 4 Sundays we've talked about meditation.